Hi everyone, thanks for joining today's call. The first agenda item, we're going to go through the testing feedback from the Big Pig team on the medical use and cost assessment form, as well as the social network survey form. So the first, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So the first one is row 7. About when a specific county is chosen, modify the list of the AMPA facilities so that only the ones that within the county show up, and then move Sangha to mUzima and then edit the others. So Simon, maybe you can show your screen that the form actually is already fixed. I think they got confused on the facility level versus the encounters location.
Yeah. So I think they have, when I read the statement correctly, I think they have introduced some requirement, which is removing one of the locations, Sunga.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are saying move it to Kisumu. So I think that's the only bit that's not working. But generally, if you choose, let's say it was in Gishu, then the AMPAC facilities will only be from in Kishu County. Yeah, and those from Busia again would be from Busia.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
Yeah,
that last bit of, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so changing that last bit, I think they have added, so I will update that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the next one is
I agree.
yeah. Good. The next one is row 8. It says that there's a lot of question missing on the demographic sections, but those has been captured in the demographic form. That's why they don't appear on the costing questionnaire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's correct.
yeah. So okay. So maybe one minor change on the AMPA facility, the previous one, there's like a bracket at the end. What is that one intends to be? Is it just like supposed to show the name or that one on your UI, Simon?
Sorry, I didn't get you
Let me
wrong.
stop my screen sharing. Maybe you can share your screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did not get your question correctly.
Okay. So like on the question AMPA facilities,
Yes.
maybe you can show your screen. So AMPA facility, and then there's like a square bracket, or there's something that's kind of like a rectangle over there. Can that one be removed?
Yeah, I see. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And yeah, that one.
Okay.
Yeah. And now let me go back to my screen, which is okay. All of these are done. The next one is row 15 for session D, herbal medicine. If one chooses either herbalist or spiritual healer, the next question on the visit should be limited to the answer. So, do you understand this question? This one?
Okay, let me.
Because I'm looking at the form on my phone. Like when you say, have you anytime visit, during the past 3 months, and then yes, and then you popular and ask how many times for the herbalist and how many times for the spiritual healers. Okay, the colors is here. That's great.
So probably what we're doing is changing the labels, I think. So if you say, let's say spiritual healer, so I think they want the questions to be reading instead of saying herbalist or healer. I think they want it to read healer.
Oh, I see.
Unless if I'm wrong, I think that's what they mean.
You know, because these questions, how to say, these questions, because the concept actually is using the same concepts for collecting those data, right? Those observations.
Mhm.
So even we rename those label, it is still stored with the same concept. I hope that it makes sense.
Yeah.
So so regardless, we're just looking at the big pic forms feedback. We are on row 15, talking about the if one choose either herbalist or spiritual healer, then this question on the visit should be limited to the answer. Do you know exactly what that means? The chalice?
Hello.
Yeah, hi, Vitalis.
Hi. Hi. Sorry, I had another meeting, so I was just coming out
Okay,
and heading for lunch. But now in fact, I forgot. Sorry for that.
no problem.
So thank you. I've just joined in.
Yes, so we
I
can
can
hear.
see the screen of you.
Okay. Do you need a few minutes or?
Yeah, kindly. I just want to get back to the office and then I'll call back, please.
Okay, sure. Okay, maybe Simon and I continue, and then the one that was not clear, we
Next,
can get back to you.
yeah, just few minutes.
Okay. Okay. So
I think if I think Eda,
yes.
according to me and what I had explained to them earlier, I think the question is just fine. Uh, they wanted the question maybe filtered exactly separate questions, like herbalist a separate question and something to do with the spiritual healer also a separate question. So, but so for me, I would think the question is okay.
Yeah. So that's why I was confused.
Yeah.
So because I'm looking on the form on my screen, the form on my phone.
Mm.
We break down asking them, herbalist how many times, spiritual how many times, but they basically want to group this about, both.
Yes.
Um, so do they actually want it to be separate, or do they actually want to be grouped?
Yeah, want it to be separate because they're saying, for example, if you select having gone to a herbalist on 2 occasions, then also spiritual ever the healer for 2 occasions, there are certain pop-up questions that pops down there. So you find that at the end of it down there is a visit that calls it herbalist. So the first visit will be herbalist visit 1. Then there is the last question that is asking, were you given any medications or interventions to use by your herbalist or spiritual? So they would want it to remain just herbalist, not or special healer, since it's highlighted as visit 1 of the herbalist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because the thing is, since they designed this session as grouping together, so
Yeah.
we have one concept for one, asking the questions, and then the same thing for the rest of the questions. So if they want to split, we need to redo it, because the way that they gave us to you guys give it to us is
grouped
together. Now you guys want to split it, is Simon cannot automatically. Simon can rename the label, but the concept still start as the same ones.
And also, it strikes me that
hear.
Salib gave us multiple requests. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Martin, can you again?
Yeah, it just strikes me as more problematic than anything. I don't think showing both options really impacts anything in terms of the results, because you can tell whether it was a herbalist or not from above. So it's a lot of work for a change that really doesn't improve the quality of the data that much.
So yeah, that is totally different from the original question modeling on the paper form that we'll given, and now it's like totally different. And what yeah. So we will get back to them and say, we'll stick, so we'll stick with the original one or not, because it's totally different from what we were given in the first place. I just want to make sure that I'm not misunderstanding the questions or the feedback. Okay, the next one is row 17. How much time it takes to the sum of the time in minutes and to read time taken to the herbalist spiritual leader, not time taken to each site. The group medical visit. Is that? Do you understand this one, Derek?
I think this one they did it the opposite. Because currently I've just checked, it's this is the section under group medical visit.
Yeah.
And that question is reading in time taken to the herbalist spiritual leader. I think they wanted to read time taken to the group medical visit.
I'm sorry for the last part, Simon.
Okay, let me just share a screen. We see this section, group medical visit. So if you go to how much time it took to get there, you see currently it's reading time to herbalist spiritual leader last visit in minutes. So I think they wanted to read time to group medical visit.
Okay. So it's at the label.
Yes.
Okay. So that one is an easy fix. Okay. Next one is row 19. How long was the medication supposed to last? This is currently the medication field does not specify the unit. Change to the number days cap as guidance. This is QF 17. So tell me, you want to share your screen on this one? Section F.
Yeah. So so you're saying that's question number.
Running out to check machines.
Hello, Ada.
Yes, can you hear me? Section F, QF 15, about the prescription drugs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that's Lebon.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Vitalis.
Okay, I'm back. Thank you.
Yeah, we are on costing questionnaire row 23 right now.
So I think this I'm sharing my screen. So where did you get the prescription from?
Mm-hmm.
I think they want other to allow one to input
The free
free
cost.
text. Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
So I think we'll check the concept so that
Whether it's available, yeah.
yeah.
Now we move to. Okay, let's share my screen. Now we move to row 25. Is section H, microfinance, QH15. Please rank what did you often use the money that you borrow from? Each rank can only be used once, and orange should be selected once. Okay, let's go to H. So someone maybe you can share your H.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I see. I see what it means. So right now it can enter the same value ranking, right?
Yeah, but I think that one was fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment
I think this is fixed because while I'm looking at the phone that's currently on the server, it's fixed.
Yeah, because when you click one, the other ones is
disabled, so you can't use any other one.
so Vitaly, do you agree that it's fixed?
Hello.
Yeah, Vitaly, go ahead.
Important thing in this section, determine the highest, whether you select one the highest. I mean,
Can you guys hear Vitaly?
are you getting me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm saying that the most important thing, I think the question was also not well framed, but it should distinguish whether one should be the highest rank or 6.
So did you see silent screen? So on the form it says please rank from 1 to 6. What did you most often use the money that you borrow for? And then school fees, medical expenses, insurance, food, business, investment, pay off debts. And then when the ranking 1 is choose, the other number 1 has been disabled. The same applies for the rest to number 6. So does it mean we believe that it's resolved? Do you think the otherwise?
Yeah, this if it's about the whether if you select one, then the other responses are disabled. That is one thing that I can confirm that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we believe that one is resolved.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
So, and then next one is line, the row number 29. Under the section I, QI question 12, tobacco, depending on the chosen entry, the subsequent questions should be limited to the previous answers. Like pipes, how many pipes? So let's go to I.
I think that one requires removing the word local brew and replace it with changa.
There's some noise. I can't hear you guys.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, you're clear.
Yeah, so I'm saying I think I'm getting it. They also want to change the labels. So in this question, what form of tobacco you currently use? They want, if you choose cigarettes, then the next question should read how many cigarettes. If it's pipe, then the next question should change to how many pipes, and so on.
But you don't smoke pipes. You put tobacco in pipes.
Yeah. So yeah, so probably we'll need to they want us to change the labels. I don't know whether it would affect the concepts as well. Is it clear, Eda?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes. So I was saying that, can we make it generic, say how many tobacco used each day, something like that?
Yeah.
Simon, could I see your screenshot again? So my question to the team is this: were these changes approved by Raj?
Vitalis and Derek?
Most of these particular changes that we're doing right now, we found out these particular errors that we think that needs to be changed after Raj had left Kenya, and
So it's a yes or no question.
Sure.
So were they approved?
I would say no. Or what do you think, Vitalis?
Raj saw all the email. I think they even told us that he even shared with us that he was also doing the testing from his end. So before even we shared with this, we had asked him to have a look at all the compilation. Unfortunately, we didn't get his reply, so I don't know if that.
Yeah. So this is my sense. Just looking at an example like this, is the change being suggested will likely cause more confusion. Okay. And because this is part of a study, the PIs have to approve the changes. Okay. because you can't change the levels for pipe sniffed and chewed. For example, how many sniffs did you smoke each day? It doesn't make sense. There's a very good reason why cigarettes is there as opposed to the other options. Okay. So my suggestion would be any changes that are of substance to the form have to be approved by the PI before we make any changes. Especially because we've gone through the cycle of saying that the form was frozen to begin with. Okay, that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I want to agree with that, and I think the ones that would involve the changes that are similar to this, I think I can just highlight and maybe we bring to his attention before we can make any change.
I would still be inclined to say all changes that are being proposed should be approved. Okay, I don't want to be selective. Okay, so we want the PI to sign off on those changes. Okay, and I'm just looking at it as a PI myself. Okay, if I designed a form and then I found that my team ended up making changes on my form without my approval, I think I'll have problems with that. And so, better to pass all your changes through the PI. That way, we are all on the same page.
Okay, point noted.
Okay. Let's move to maybe a programmatic issues. Row 37 saying that uploading the complete form data get the error saying that go ahead. Saying that it's get an error 510 about the input string. Is this still happening?
I believe this was fixed. Maybe Vitalis can tell us whether it's still happening.
Okay, the reason why we maintain this, Simon, is that we really wanted to know what could be the cause of this, because forms were getting into the error queue with that error name. But if it's fixed, then I would say we can.
What do you mean, Vitalis?
Sorry?
Yeah, can you repeat? I couldn't get what you say.
Yeah, I'm saying that I was interested to know why this was happening. And okay, like the other forms that I could not resolve the error. You get my point? So the other errors that were in the error queue, they are still there, and I didn't. So that is why we still had them, and most of the forms were for test. I didn't know how to resolve this error, and that's why we left it in that state.
Yeah. So for the original errors, because I think as we agreed, those ones should just be discarded because this problem was due to a concept issue where that WW was just a placeholder for a concept because at the time of programming, I didn't know the grouping concept ID to use, so I only placed there some placeholder. But in the second version of the form, that was already fixed. So in case you push in new data, I believe we've had data processing successfully and not encountering that error anymore.
Yeah, so maybe just what you need to confirm from what you've said is whether to discard regard all the that's
Very Vitalis, you're breaking up.
yeah, I just wanted to confirm from you, from what you've said, that whether just to regard all the entries we have entered and they have such an error, so we can just disregard it and maybe won't use them as they won't get into our database.
Yeah, because I think that was in the very first testing of the form. That's when we had such issues, and the data, I think it may not be of use because that's not part of the pilot data that you recently submitted. So I think the easiest way, you can just discard it. But if you really want to keep it, then I will give you the concept ID, which you can use to resolve those errors.
Okay.
Okay, so there's one more thing that I want to point out right here. So Vitalis, maybe you can help us to clean up this spreadsheet because, like for example, I know that there's probably second round of testing, stuff from 39 to 47. Most of those are repeated as things that identify from the first round of testing, and then the status, whether it's resolved or not, they're conflicting with each other. It creates confusion for us which one is which.
Which number?
Like for example, like look at row 39. It say that kindly update and add big pic size, location, Mesorius, turbo not in, big pic size, Mesorius, and turbo still coming up. So, but on ours, it's not. We're not sure why it's like that.
I think this was sorted. I think maybe.
I think that is okay. What is happening is the default locations for on the device are turbo and Mesorius. So what we need to do is just remove them from the device side, and that should not be a big issue. And I think that one we sorted out from the devices.
I think it's a setup thing. It's not the form.
Yeah, it's on the app side.
Yeah, if it's not an issue, I think you guys need to mark as yes resolved because it's confusing for us. I think that's why we want to go through this with you guys because we're not really sure what that means. Even though your team say that the status on the ticket is resolved and yes or no is updated. Okay. You know, the same thing, like for example, like row 47, this is exact same comment that Martin pointed out earlier, that it needs to be to review and approved by the PI, and pretty much the same thing. I think you guys need to consolidate them so that it reduces confusion.
Okay.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand what you guys doing. That you guys have like new review, for the second round, just adding more rows, but then it needs to corresponding back to the original one to make sure that they, actually it's already recorded whether it's resolved or not. So so probably there's some cleanup that you guys need to do on your side, and then after that need to be approved by your project PI.
Yeah, we'd have to really.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that my last call that we had, that I keep emphasizing that we were not going to start programming it until all these are clarified and finalized, because even though you guys think it's ready, but you can tell it's not really ready. I hope that makes sense now. So, so we just take a quick look on the social network survey, since it's relatively new, because this is like a first round testing. So Simon, maybe get ready to open the social network survey on your screen. So the first one is participant information. The range of the ID need to be restricted between a range. I think we can apply that, no problem. The other one is enter the participant ID. This please add duplicate entry for patient ID to avoid simple error. Can you explain a little bit more on this one, Vitalis?
We just need just similar as it is in the costing questionnaire, where we just have a confirmation of the ID. So we enter like twice.
Is it enter twice?
Sorry?
Is it enter the
I
participant
think
ID twice?
it's a confirmation field.
Is
It's
it
a confirmation
correct?
field.
Yeah, is it correct to enter the participant patient ID twice to confirm that the enter value are identical?
Yeah, it's right to do that.
Okay. And then the next one, session B, important matters. 5 people that one shares with.
Eda, can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is the section that we thought would be sorted. I think those two will be sorted with the creation of the question with the concepts where we can fill the number of people. Like if you have none, then you would fill 0 people. So that would solve if somebody do not have a person who he shares with.
So like, let's say that it's like, it enters 3, you want to prompt 3 times, is that what it means?
Yeah.
So then let me ask you a question. Since each session will have multiple questions, and then so which one do you base on as the base? For example, one question must be a required question to be answered, because the other could be like left blank or whatever. So we need some kind of like base to reference to, so that to ensure that there's validations based on that.
They just need to get that form to check like the questions.
Like each sessions, like for example, important matters, there's like a few questions, like 5 or 6 questions, right? And then are you require all 5 or 6 questions must be answered in order to pass the validation? Or at least 1 or 2 of those questions need to be answered to pass this validation? I think we need that kind of information. If not, it's hard for someone to implement.
Okay, Simon, I don't know, we had a discussion with him, though it was not so much, but we had a discussion, and I don't know what he had thought, the idea that he was saying. Simon, kindly, maybe if you can share what you talked about, please.
So let me just show my screen again. So Vitalis, I think from My understanding, you have a situation where you're being asked to provide information up to 5 people,
Yeah.
and then it's mandatory that you give the name of a person.
Yeah.
And you're saying in a situation where you don't have any names, so you have 0 names. Therefore, then we are forcing somebody to input at least a name. So I think as a way out for that kind of situation I mentioned, that then you can introduce another question that asks, do you have information up for at least one person, or a similar question, so that if you say yes, and then we will ask the name of the person, but if you say no, then you skip this question. But I think what Eda wants you to do is just to review for each of the sections, because all the sections of that is if we put that question for section B and C, then chances are somebody can skip that part, skip the next section, and skip all sections of the form. So we wonder whether.
May I make a comment?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say discuss this with the PI, okay, because you can just make it an optional field, or maybe as a program they're not allowed to leave it blank. So that's a PI question.
Yeah. Cool. So Vitalis, I think you can take it up from there.
So maybe just to get to know further, does it mean that we Raj would communicate to you people once you have discussed, or because during our call we talked about this, and they were comfortable to have it in a way that it can accommodate for people.
Yeah, we just basically need clarity on what changes have been approved by the PI and what approach to take, okay? So in this case, if it can be left blank, then you just remove the mandatory requirement on it, okay, versus adding another question.
Okay.
Okay, so the communication can come as a signed off email on the approved changes by the PI coming from Raj.
Yeah, that's true. I know it is more useful, I mean, just to show him, though he's far away from us, and maybe if we can have a similar call where we just show him the way these things look. It's a different thing to talk about it probably in the email and then showing him the way they look.
Yeah, but that's an internal big conversation, right? So
yeah.
Okay. So Vitalis, I think this is great that we go through now, so that you understand why we can even start. So should we just quickly go through the rest, since we just have a few minutes left. So on row 8, and kind of details, whether it's possible to add none or don't have. Do you want just to go through a little bit more for this one for us?
Yeah, I think we will just have to also involve Raj on this still also, but that point of view, we felt it's important to include the variables don't know and refuse, and because of the to avoid a lot of missing data. So I think this came from the data people. The suggestion came from them. And,
Okay. So I think
I think we need to involve and sorry.
So yeah, so look like number 8 and 9, you also need to clarify with it's the same thing that need to review by your own group. And for 18 is the same as 6. So it needs to be cleaned up as well. 18 and 6, they're the same thing.
18 and
I'm sorry, not 11, I'm sorry. 11, row 11 and row 6.
row 11 and row 6. Yeah, this is a repetition.
Yeah, so you guys maybe can clean it up, the same for the costing questionnaire.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, cool. And let me move my, I need to stop this and then just look at the registration form quickly. So like the first one is more for direct, right?
Yeah, this for the.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't hear you well. I think you're breaking.
So the first suggestion on row 4 for the registration form, I think it's more like for you to make sure that when you set up for the application, make sure that you set up the correct big site.
Yeah, noted there.
And then the range of the identifier, I think it's the same thing. And then so Vitalis, Vitalis, I think like the same discussion that we had last week, that whether it should have a separate registration form for Big Pig or should use one for both LAC and Big Pig.
Yeah.
So maybe you also can run by the PI what the preference is.
Yeah, I thought we said that we would also involve the LAC team to just have a discussion whether they are also comfortable with having different registration forms. And,
yeah. So we will wait to hear from you guys whether you guys want to have one for both or you guys would prefer to have two separate ones.
Sure.
I think that is it from reviewing the Big Pig forms. Is there other things anyone want to comment or questions or clarify?
Nothing much, just to inform the team that we've set aside Thursday to be the day for doing LAC follow-ups. Yeah, so we are scheduled to have that from this Thursday. And it will be incorporating the whole team. That's the RAs and one of the coordinators from the team.
Okay.
Sure.
Cool. So yeah, I think I really appreciate the Big Pig team to compile the testing feedback in the spreadsheets, more organized format. I think for programmatic issues, we definitely can fix on the mUzima side. However, for the content changes, those need to be reviewed and approved by your team before they come to us. It's not like us making changes, because it's going to be different in terms of like how the questions are structured and also model as well. It might affect the analysis later on for your project. So we will wait for Vitalis and Derek to communicate with the Big Pig team, and then we will not make changes on any programmatic on any content issues. For the quick programmatics or cosmetic changes, Simon can go ahead and start. But for those major changes, we'll wait from you guys' feedback.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe just to also highlight that the Big team would like to use the form this Thursday after the changes have been made. So I don't know whether that survey will be possible. Or Vitalis, when was it to be used? This Thursday, that's
So
member.
let me just clarify. The changes mostly actually depends on you guys. How, as I want to emphasize, is how fast you guys finalize your feedback and being approved.
Yeah, yeah, and that's quite important. So again, you have to be realistic about when you want to deploy based on when you are requesting the changes. Okay.
Yeah, I keep emphasizing that it's not us not wanting to start or work on it. We just simply don't know what the final lists are. I hope that makes sense.
We hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just keep emphasizing that. I mean, the same thing I keep emphasizing last week. We would not be able to even promise or estimate anything until we know what the final lists are. Okay. So Vitalis, do you have any other comment or questions?
No, for me, I don't have.
Okay, so we'll wait for feedback from you guys and let us know when it might be ready, and then we will start from our side.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Sorry, we
Bye.
cannot get to the backlog. We'll try to do the backlog this Friday.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.